Postcard today is stamped Warwickshire. We're in Stratford upon Avon at the Holy Trinity Parish Church. Do you find, Catherine, that the biggest problem with this lovely church is that people come in to see the tombs behind us, the plaques, Shakespeare and family, and they actually miss out the rest?
Absolutely. Yes, I think people do tend to just wander in and then 5 minutes later they wander out again, and they miss so much. You know, there's so much history here. This goes back to 1210, and there's so much extra rather than just William, dare I say that. There's just so much to see, and I think working here, you could stay in here for hours and still be, you know, looking around thinking, gosh, I've never seen that before, and just finding out about history, really, you know, all the 800 years of change, really, in the church.
Well, I'm totally enthralled by the misericords.
Oh, yeah.
Talk us through those.
Oh, the misericords. They come from a Latin word, misericordia, which means just simply act of mercy. The act of mercy was for the poor monks who used to stand and sing many services a day. And if you ever tried standing still for a long time, it's very painful. So the idea was to have a little ledge on top of these wooden seats that you could just park your bottom on, really, and take the weight off your legs. But when you look at the carvings, they were never meant to be seen. They are the underside of the seats, and they're just boring old black oak boards when you pull them down. And so underneath the seats are these wonderful carvings, and this is part of the things that people miss. There's a set of 26 here, all different, and each one showing different scenes that was inside the medieval mind. They were given artistic license to actually carve whatever they wanted, within reason.
Local carvers?
Local carvers, yeah. So 1480, round about that time. So you've got a Saracen's head, you've got a camel, all kinds of things. And, you know, where do you see a camel in Stratford? Someone must have come back from the Crusades, I suppose, and told them what a camel looked like, and they've carved them. We've got mermaids, mermen, you know, weird things. Some really quite rude ones over in the corner, but you'll have to visit Holy Trinity to find out what it is and ask me. But fighting scenes, a man and a woman, a real domestic scene, a real punch-up. And it's fantastic, you know, they've got to come and see it.
What else is there in Holy Trinity that really grabs you?
Grabs me. Everything grabs me. I just love history.
Your enthusiasm commends you. It's
I
really
love it.
wonderful.
I love it.
I'm intrigued also by a Mr. Clopton round the corner.
Oh yes, the
I didn't
Clopton
know
family.
that he became Lord Mayor of London.
Oh yes, my word. Yes, see, we've got him as well. Yeah, the Clopton family tombs are here in Holy Trinity. They've got they're beautiful. The one in the middle is actually described as the finest Renaissance tomb. Whether it is or not, I honestly don't know, but it's pretty spectacular. And you've got, well, if you don't know the Cloptons, they were the person who built the bridge over the river. There was a huge house called Clopton House, still there today, but flats now. And I understand, and probably someone will write to me and put me right, that some of the conspirators for the gunpowder plot were actually arrested at Clopton House, so there's history again there.
It does ring a bell, that actually,
Yeah.
Clopton.
Yeah.
There's something that rang a little bell in my head, and it wasn't my tinnitus for a change, it was something else. I particularly love the window as well.
Oh,
when you
yes,
look
they're
from
beautiful.
here,
Yeah.
it is stunning, isn't it?
It is,
The light coming
absolutely.
through there.
The windows, unfortunately, are, well, I say fortunately, where you look at it, they are all Victorian. Most of the windows were smashed. And they were originally typical medieval glass, very pale, wishy-washy colours. But all these were put in round about 1880, 1896. And the one behind us is another beautiful one. It's called the Adoration of the Crucified. And I can tell you a story about that one, that someone actually came to see the church about 10 years ago and just came in and met me. I'm just wandering around in here, as I do. And they said, I've got a drawing of that. And I can't, you know, where from? And he'd actually been walking past a junk shop in London. and had seen this kind of big piece of paper all folded up and kind of very interested in stained glass. When he got it home, he opened it up and discovered it was the original drawings of this window.
No.
You know, full-size drawings of this window, and he paid £1 for it.
Did he donate them to you?
No, no. I'm still waiting, still waiting.
Thought, well, maybe once he sees this, Catherine, you're going to get a little note.
Oh, please. In all probability, that's a good line, isn't it? In all probability, Shakespeare was baptised in that font. That was actually thrown out of the church and rescued by one of the clerks here. And he kind of kept it in his garden as a water trough for many, many years. And it was actually brought back into church somewhere around about the 1800s. And the modern font down the end of the nave down there is a direct copy of that.
And this looks very old.
It must have been very old. I don't know how old it is, but it obviously is, well, by the wear of it, it's very, very old indeed.
Now let's talk about Mr. Shakespeare, because obviously you do have your features in this church, but it is famous in its own right, really, because of Shakespeare's baptism and burial. He was buried here too. What do we know about William Shakespeare, the man? Was he God-fearing?
Well, we know that he was required at some part of the time. He looked after this chancel area. He didn't do a very good job of it because it was falling down. But he probably paid somebody else. Obviously, he was a very wealthy man. But we do know, we believe that he actually read lessons. He was educated at Kes, King Edward's, and so he could read. And the Bible over here is a first edition King James, and we believe he read the lessons from that in church, so that he was well connected. But I mean, an awful lot of people did come to church, you know, because they felt that was the thing to do.
That's
you know,
right.
It's a little
the
bit different.
Doorway to heaven.
Well, yes.
What made him have such a simple tombstone?
I think he was worried. I mean, today in the church we see funerals. You know, sometimes we have several a week, sometimes we have none, which is lovely. But death is part of life if you're working in a church, and you see coffins come, you see coffins go. In his day, he would have seen exhumations because they used to recycle the grave spaces inside the church. And I don't know about you, but I think I would have said, you know, I don't want that to happen to me either. You know, I don't fancy that at all. And so maybe by just not putting a name on, I don't know, you know, he's just chosen to put this, what they call the Shakespeare curse on the tomb, on his grave slab. And that really is specifically a note for the grave diggers.
And what does it say?
It says, it's right behind you, it actually says, good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear, which means refrain from. So refrain from digging the dust enclosed here. And bless you if you spare these stones, and curse you if you move my bones.
So he was obviously quite concerned about that by the sounds
I think he was very concerned that he was going to be left where he lay. And I don't blame him either. You know, if you were buried inside the church, your days were numbered. You got about 50 years, and that was it. And I don't know about you, but I think I'd like to take my chance outside and be left undisturbed for perpetuity rather than 50 years. But after 50 years, the grave site would be exhumed, the bones moved, and taken through the little doorway behind you, which until about 1790 was a charnel house, a bone house, and stored in there. So by putting that little curse on his tomb, there he lies.